All right, hit that like button and subscribe, because we are diving into a movie that is seriously making waves here.
Oh yeah, this one's got everyone talking.
And for good reason. It's got this totally wild premise. Like, the entire movie takes place in one spot.
One house, to be exact.
Right, but we're not talking about just like one family's story, you know? This thing spans centuries. We're talking dinosaurs roaming around.
Ben Franklin's son even makes an appearance.
Oh, and get this. We even see the inventor of the Lazy Boy recliner.
Now that's a historical figure I can get behind.
Right. I mean, talk about a deep dive into history. The review we're looking at today really digs into all of this. It's got me thinking, like, can they actually pull this off? A movie that spans that much time, all in one location.
Well, that's the ambition of it, right? To capture the immensity of time, all those layers of history, all within the walls of a single house.
I mean, imagine, like, you've got a family living in this house today, right?
Yeah.
But then the movie keeps flashing back, showing us what happened on that very same patch of land throughout history.
It's almost like the director is trying to visually represent how the past is always present, how everything is connected.
So you might see a T-Rex stomping around, while in the same shot, a family in the 1950s is just, having dinner.
Overlapping frames, that's the key here. It's like looking through different layers of time all at once.
Visually, it sounds absolutely incredible.
It's definitely a bold approach.
Oh, right, and did I mention the cast? We've got Tom Hanks and Robin Wright back together again.
A Forrest Gump reunion.
Exactly. But here's the thing. The review we're looking at wasn't exactly glowing.
You know, it's interesting, isn't it? We come into a film with certain expectations, especially with a director like this and stars like Hanks and Wright.
Totally. So what did they like about it?
Well, the critic uses words like artificial and contrived. They felt like all those historical moments were just kind of thrown in there for show.
Like they were just checking things off a list.
Yeah, like, okay, we need a dinosaur, check. Now we need Ben Franklin's son, check. It didn't feel like a cohesive story.
It makes you wonder, are they trying to do too much?
It's a tough balance, right? Historical accuracy versus telling a compelling story. Sometimes you can lose the heart of the story if you try to cram in too much information.
And then it ends up feeling like a history lesson, not a movie.
Exactly. And that's what we're going to unpack today, right? Is here a groundbreaking cinematic experience, or did its ambition get the best of it?
We've got a lot to cover, so stick with us.
I mean, it's a really interesting concept, but, I kind of got the feeling reading this review that it was just too much like trying to fit a square peg in a round hole.
Yeah, like trying to condense all of history into a single film.
Right. And, maybe if they'd focused on like a shorter time period or really honed in on one specific historical event.
Instead of trying to do everything at once.
Yeah, exactly. Because when you try to pack in too much, you can end up sacrificing depth and nuance.
And speaking of things that maybe didn't quite hit the mark, the review also had some pretty harsh words about the CGI.
Oh, yeah. The de-aging they did on Tom Hanks and Robin Wright, apparently it was
Not good.
not convincing at all. Which is a shame because when de-aging is done well, it can be absolutely incredible.
Like in The Irishman.
Exactly. The Irishman, that was like a benchmark for de-aging technology. But when it's not done well, it can be so distracting.
Yeah, you're totally pulled out of the movie.
You're like, wait a minute, that's not what a 30-year-old Tom Hanks actually looks like.
Right, it takes you right out of the moment.
It becomes more about the technology than the performance.
So maybe they went a little overboard with the special effects, but even with all the criticism, there was one thing the review actually praised, and that was the ending.
Oh, really?
Yeah, apparently it has this really touching moment about memory and the meaning we attach to certain places.
That's so interesting because that idea of place as a repository of memory is so universal and powerful.
Absolutely.
Like think about your childhood home or a favorite park or even just a street corner that holds special significance for you.
All those memories and emotions tied to one specific location.
Exactly. These places become like anchors to our past. They hold pieces of who we are.
It's like they become part of our identity in a way.
And I think that's what this movie is trying to explore on a grander scale, that connection between people and place across time.
It makes me think that maybe the film's real strength lies in those quiet moments of reflection, those explorations, the emotional connection between this family and this one specific place.
Right. Maybe the historical stuff is just window dressing, and the heart of the story is something much more personal and intimate.
It's like the historical events are just a backdrop for a deeper exploration of human experience.
Yeah, and it's interesting that the critic picked up on that emotional resonance. even while criticizing other aspects of the film.
Makes you wonder if the filmmakers themselves were maybe a little conflicted about what story they were really trying to tell.
Perhaps they were trying to stay too faithful to the source material.
Oh.
You know, this film is based on a graphic
Oh,
novel.
I didn't realize that.
So, yeah, and sometimes when you're adapting a story from one medium to another, you have to be willing to let go of certain things.
You have to find the essence of the story and figure out how to translate that into a new form.
Exactly, and sometimes that means making changes or even cutting things out entirely.
So maybe that's what happened here. They were trying to cram in every single detail from the graphic novel, and it ended up feeling a little overstuffed.
It's like trying to fit an entire novel's worth of plot and character development into a 2-hour movie. It's a tough challenge.
But hey, at least they stuck the landing with that emotional ending.
That's right. Even with its flaws, it sounds like Here manages to deliver a powerful message about the enduring power of memory and the deep connection we have to the places that shape our lives.
But hey, enough from us, right? We want to know what you think about all this.
Yeah, hit us up in the comments. Tell us if this movie is on your watch list.
Seriously, we love hearing your thoughts. It's like having a whole extra layer to the conversation.
It's always fascinating to get different perspectives.
All right, let's wrap up this deep dive into here. So we've got this visually stunning film, maybe a little too visually stunning. It's got a wild premise, big stars, and some, let's call it questionable CGI.
But you know, it's that ending that really gets me thinking.
Yeah, it makes you consider, like, how much meaning can one place actually hold? It's a pretty heavy question.
It really is. This film is basically saying that a single spot on Earth can contain centuries of history, from dinosaurs to, well, Tom Hanks.
It's like this whole idea of time and place and memory all smashed together.
It makes you think about how we're all connected, you know, how the past shapes the present and all that.
That's Here in a nutshell, folks. It's interconnectedness, but like on a massive scale.
So if you're looking for a movie that's visually ambitious and thought-provoking, you might want to check out Here. Just be prepared. You might leave the theater with a bit of a headache.
Totally. And hey, don't forget to let us know what you thought. Was it a cinematic masterpiece or a total flop?
We're eager to hear your take.
All right, that's it for our deep dive into Here time. Make sure to like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below. And until next time, keep exploring and keep questioning.
And as always, stay curious.
We'll see you next time. And hey, one last time, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment down below.